Hello, today we have a special guest here from the Friends of Earth here, and he's going to be here to talk about bees.
He shall be interviewed by me, Rosie.
Me, Yushuan.
And me, Daisy.
So, why and how are bees being threatened?
So there's lots of things that are threatening bees at the moment. One of those things is land being used differently than it has been. And then another one is the way that farming is done. Some of the chemicals that are used in farming, in particular pesticides, can be a real threat to bees. And then you've got climate change, and there's more and more things, but one of the really difficult things about bees and trying to protect them is that lots of those things affect each other. So there's connections between the way that the pesticides are used. It means that bees get weaker, and there's lots of research that shows when they're weaker, they're more susceptible to getting diseases. Lots of different things threatening them at the moment.
Okay, so why are bees so important?
Okay, bees are really important because they help us to keep our environment and our economy strong and healthy. So bees pollinate our almost all of our fruit and vegetables and much of our food as well. So without bees, farmers would have to do that somehow by hand. You see sometimes in places like China, some of that's starting to happen already. Some farmers are having to do that themselves.
That sounds crazy.
It's really, so the cost of that in the UK, if farmers had to do all the pollination themselves, would be £1.8 billion a year. So you can see they play a really big part.
Yeah.
That is really...
Yeah.
There's no words to describe that.
No, and it's not just the food. I mean, they pollinate 3/4 of our wildflowers in the UK, lots of other plants, and because of the way that plants and creatures depend on each other so much in ecosystems or kind of webs of life, it's not just about the food that we eat, it's about lots of other creatures being healthy as well.
It is. It really is.
Okay, what do you think of Charlton Brothers' Bee Friendly March on October the 16th?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's really great that you guys are all getting together to show how much you care about bees. It's a great example, I think, of kind of people power, which is something that Friends of the Earth is really all about. So demonstrating that you feel so strongly about bees and showing that they need to be protected sends a really great message to people who can do something about that as well. So, whether that's people in government or in businesses or just other people in the community who might not know that there's this challenge, I think it's really great that you're doing that. And hopefully it also sends a message up to your parents as well if they're not already aware of it.
Let's just hope that people will listen to our call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what is Friends of the Earth doing to help the bees?
So Friends of the Earth has been working on bees for a good couple of years now, and we've done lots of different things really. So we've tried to support other people to do things that can help bees. But we started really asking the government to come up with a bee action plan. Because of all those different threats that I talked about earlier, it's a really complicated issue. And so, we thought the most important thing is to just try and find solutions, bring together everybody who's involved. That's from farmers to the companies that produce these chemicals. The Women's Institute has been very active. So lots of different organisations have an interest. And we needed to bring those people together.
I can imagine, because this is something that really is getting serious.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really critical. All of the science tells us that 3 bumblebee species have already gone extinct in the UK. A quarter of bee species are threatened, so they're on a red list, which means they're really in danger. So there's a recognition. Lots of these. We had a bee summit and it was really well attended, and I think that we're having another one next month to celebrate the anniversary of this plan. The plan needs to be stronger and we need to have more action. So people know there's a problem, and what we're trying to do is to get people talking about it and finding solutions, suggesting solutions ourselves, but also anybody who wants to do anything, finding ways that they can take practical action. So if that's planting seeds, making B&Bs, which are little hotels for solitary bees.
Yeah, because I know at home, I've got like a little thing in the garden.
Great.
Yeah, sadly we haven't seen any bees go there yet though.
No, you never. Yes.
Yeah, you feel like that there's nothing there at points.
Sometimes you can see, you might not see the bees themselves, but there can be little signs that show that they have been there. So yeah, in B&Bs, you can sometimes see that a bee has laid their eggs there and has put the food in. It just looks like it's blocked up. But yeah, there's I mean, one of the other things that we try to do is draw attention to the fact that it's not just about honeybees. In the UK, there are over 250 species of solitary and wild bees. So yeah, that's really important too.
Okay, so what else can we do locally to help them?
I think you're doing great work by the sounds of things with the march coming up. And I think I'm right in saying that you've got some bees nearby as well.
We've got about 3 hives.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're already doing lots, but maybe one of the things, if you haven't already done it, is to have a look at some of the resources that Friends of the Earth have developed specifically for schools, and they can help you do things like doing a survey of your area to see what is already there, what kind of flowers are already there, if they're bee-friendly flowers. If not, then it's got suggestions for things that you can plant, different kinds of... There are particular flowers that bees like, so lots of herbs they like, and if you wanted to plant food, strawberries, tomatoes, beans, those kinds of things. So, yeah, there's stuff you can do within the school, but I think you're obviously setting a really good example for the rest of the community, and perhaps it's you can have a bee open day with the march. It's going to draw people in, so it's just partly about spreading the word. I think really you're doing a really good job.
Yeah. Oh no.
I mean, there's one more thing which I'll just mention quickly, which is we've got a project called Bee Worlds, and that's been really successful. We've got around 300 bee worlds now, and they're small areas that have been turned into bee-friendly habitat.
Really good, then, isn't it?
One of the big problems is they don't have places to live, and so if you wanted to start a bee world, we could definitely
that very much sounds interesting actually. How did you get involved with Friends of the Earth, and how can people at Chorlton and South East London get involved?
Oh, so I got involved partly, it's a long story, but I'll try and keep it short.
Okay, just try and keep it short.
Yeah, so I used to work in the food industry, so I used to be a chef and cook food, and I was really interested in the different places. I worked actually nearby in Blackheath in a really nice restaurant, and I worked other places where I was looking at where the food was coming from, and it raised lots of questions in my mind, really, about what the impacts were.
So you basically just wanted to know more about it?
Yeah, and so that kind of took me towards, going up the food chain. How is this food produced? And, obviously that ties in really well with the role that bees play in
bees
in
play a
food
really
production.
big role.
Yeah.
Okay, also, just before you go, do you think that the case is getting better at all?
There are some good signs. I think the work that you're doing is really encouraging. There's a lot of people who are behind the bees now, and that's great. It's just a case of trying to make sure that everybody plays their part. So
we try and get as many people as possible.
The challenges are still really serious. There's a lot of work still to be done, but it's the more people are aware that it affects everybody, and that we depend on bees more than they depend on us in some ways, the likelier we are to get the solutions that we need to help save them, I think.
Yeah,
so from a red light to amber, basically.
In terms of the bee health themselves, that's probably still red, I would say. The science keeps saying that it's a very serious problem, but in terms of the action that people are taking, it's going. You could say that it's getting to orange. I think.
Okay, so it's slowly making its way up to orange.
Yeah.
But right now it's still just on red.
So not flashing red.
No, but it's kind of where it's changed to orange, and you're waiting to see if it's going to go green. And I think it's kind of waiting. What we're waiting for is for those people who have power to help bees really catching up with the rest of us who are already saying we need to do stuff. So. The the bigger the groups sort of calling for that, the likelier it is that it'll turn green sooner rather than later, I hope.
Okay, that's good then. Okay.
Yeah, and if there's if you want to do more locally as well, you can get in touch with your local Friends of the Earth group, and
we definitely will.
they'll already have be doing things on the ground and have suggestions for ways you can get involved.
Okay then, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for coming here to the CMN. Mr. Williams, you've been great. I hope you come here again.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.